Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Dakbo Adigboye, and here are stories making headlines beyond the continent. The High Court in London on Tuesday began hearing WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's final UK appeal against extradition to the United States to face trial over publishing secret military and diplomatic files. Washington wants the 52-year-old Australian citizen extradited after he was charged there multiple times between 2018 and 2020 in connection with WikiLeaks' 2010 publication of files relating to the US-led wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. US President Joe Biden has faced sustained pressure, both domestically and internationally, to drop the 18-count indictment Assange faces in federal court in Virginia, which was filed under his predecessor, Donald Trump. Now, campaigners are protesting outside the London High Court. We are hearing for Julian Assange's final UK appeal against extradition to the United States is underway. Supporters of Julian Assange's demand is release from prison outside London High Court. On the first day of a two-day hearing is the WikiLeaks founder's final UK appeal against extradition to the United States to face trial. The 52-year-old Assange is wanted for espionage charges in the US and has been detained in a highly security Belmarsh Prison in southeast London since April 2019. WikiLeaks founder was absent from a London court due to illness on Tuesday as his lawyers made a final appeal against extradition to the United States to face trial for publishing secret military and diplomatic files.
Julian Assange, literally like everyone's saying here, he's only spoken the truth. For him to be extradited, it's against our law. There's a law that says that he's not able to be extradited for the crimes he's being charged with. So we're just giving in to people. There's no justice. The justice system is wrong. It's not wrong. It's not being followed. So I had to come and do something about this. I've got a young family, and I just fear for my kids. You know, if they've got no way of expressing themselves in the future, and like just puppets to the powers that be.
He is the one who told the truth and revealed crimes that were committed, and he should not be in prison for doing this. He's an honest journalist and a really brave person.
Very brave. I wonder who would do this.
It's really so sad that you go to prison for just telling war crimes to the world. I can't understand this.
So Julian Assange is our generation's Daniel Ellsberg, maybe even more. I mean, some of all the information released by WikiLeaks, again, to my understanding, has never been proven false. I think there were intelligence reports from the US where they've even admitted that it likely, his reveals likely didn't result in any deaths of intelligence personnel. So I think it would be a chilling precedent for anyone who wants to report on the behavior of our governments, of our militaries, and imperialism, for us not to be able to report on things like this.
Joining us now to give more insight on this is our international correspondent, Afua Hagen. Afua, let's of course start off with the latest as regards the court cases, the court case on Julian Assange today.
The background of this case is that in 2006, Julian Assange founded the WikiLeaks website, and that basically was a treasure trove of whistleblowing documents, whether that was government exposés about unrest in Tibet, in China, about corruption in Kenya, about drone strikes in Yemen. He started that website in 2006. Now, where he ran into problems is where he released a video of a US military helicopter that killed civilians in Baghdad. There was other information on there relating to the Afghanistan and Iraq war. And in 2019, he was supplied documents by a former US Army intelligence analyst by the name of Chelsea Manning. Now, in 2019, he was indicted on 18 charges relating to WikiLeaks and the release of millions and millions of secret government documents relating to the conflicts I mentioned in Iraq and Afghanistan. So since then, Assange has been remanded in Belmarsh Prison in London as he's fighting extradition to the United States. So in the High Court today, he was facing charges including breaking into a military database. Assange wasn't well. He couldn't attend court today, so he wasn't actually in court. But his legal team want his appeal to go ahead. He said without his appeal, it was a flagrant denial of justice. Now, Assange has also maintained that if he is extradited, then he could face violence or potentially even being killed for WikiLeaks, for leaking these documents in the first place. His legal team have also claimed that there was a CIA plot against him to kidnap or assassinate him, and that Donald Trump asked for ways in which this could happen. So there's real and genuine fears by his legal team that if he is extradited to the US, then he may end up dead. His legal team have also argued that he was just doing his job as a journalist, and there have been countless other journalists that have done the same thing, that have been whistleblowers, but haven't faced these charges, haven't faced arrest, haven't faced extradition. So what is it about him, Julian Assange, that makes him special?
Now, how do US leaders view Julian Assange and the threat he poses?
Well, the leaks that related to Afghanistan and Iraq actually took place under the presidency of Barack Obama, but it was Donald J. Trump who pursued his prosecution. Now, he was also responsible for the leaks around Hillary Clinton's emails around the 2016 election. Also, Joe Biden, who was vice president during the presidency of Barack Obama, when, like I said, the Afghanistan and Iraq leaks occurred, hasn't said too much about it, but is pushing for his prosecution. But like I said, his legal team say that there was this plot to kill him, and that Donald J. Trump actually asked for ways in which this could happen. They called it a stunning plot to kill him, a CIA plot to kill him, and asked for apparently Donald J. Trump asked for detailed options of how that could happen, and senior CIA officials put those plans together.
All right, Afua Hagen, thank you so much for your time. And of course, Sweden said on Tuesday it would give a 7.1 billion kroner, that's about 682 million US dollars worth of military equipment to Ukraine, in a boost for the country as it struggles to fight off Russia's invasion. Now, Defense Minister Paul Johnson said the reason for the continuous support to Ukraine is a matter of humanity and decency. He said Russia started an illegal, unprovoked and indefensible war. The package will consist of artillery, shells and also air defense systems, boats and underwater weapons such as mines and torpedoes, as well as training for Ukrainian soldiers. It marks Sweden's 15th aid package to Ukraine and is the largest yet.
Vi kommer att presentera Sveriges 15:e stödpaket till Ukraina idag. Som också är det största stödpaketet som Sverige har givit hittills. Ryssland har påbörjat ett olagligt, oprovocerat och oförsvarbart krig mot Ukraina. Så kan vi stötta Ukraina så ska vi givetvis göra det. Därför handlar det om, som sagt, om anständighet. Men det handlar också om att försvara värderingar och intressen som är viktiga och centrala för Sverige och Sveriges säkerhet.
Now, the body of a man who was shot dead in Spain is believed to be that of a Russian helicopter pilot who defected to Ukraine last year. In August, Maxim flew a helicopter into Ukraine's territory, where he handed himself in. Spanish police have not publicly confirmed the identity of the man who was killed near the Alicante last week. However, Ukrainian intelligence confirmed his death on Monday. Spanish authorities told newsmen that the victim may have been living under a false identity. Now, Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson is set to meet Hungarian counterpart Viktor Orbán on Friday to discuss defense issues. Now, 3 days ahead of a key parliamentary vote on Sweden's bid to join NATO. Now, this follows Turkey's ratification last month, as Hungary remains the last NATO member stopping Sweden from joining the alliance. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Sweden applied to join NATO in May 2022, at the same time as Finland. The Swedish government, in a statement, said the Prime Minister's talks with Orbán in Budapest will include defense and security policy cooperation between Hungary and Sweden.
Ja, alltså jag tackade ju rätt snabbt ja till att åka till Budapest inför en ungersk ratificering. Så det har ju inte förändrats. Då har vi diskuterat datum för detta och nu har ju också ungrarna kommit ett steg närmare när de vill att parlamentet ska behandla det. Så var det naturligt att enas om att åka ner på fredag. Och tillsammans med Paul Jonsson så vi kommer diskutera försvarssamarbeten, bilaterala sådana, men också inom NATO bland annat. Så att det är klart att försvarsindustrifrågorna är viktiga och det är ju väldigt känt sedan lång tid tillbaka att Ungern, som vi själva använder JAS-39 Gripen och vi vidareutvecklar gärna det samarbetet.
Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we have more stories. Stay with us.
Николаевич, 11, да? Вы снова были здесь вместе с начальником Генштаба и доложили о том, что происходит в Авдеевке. Вот это хаотичное бегство. К этому времени, я так понимаю, и руководство Вооруженных сил Украины издало приказ об отводе своих вооруженных сил, когда они уже были в движении и покидали этот населенный пункт. Насколько я понимаю, и как мне докладывал позавчера Андрей Николаевич, часов в 6-7 утра противник начал такой хаотичный отход из этого населенного пункта.
The United States ambassador to Russia, Lynn Tracy, says it's unacceptable that Ivan Grechevich and Paul Whelan still languish in Russian prisons on baseless charges. Now, this comes after Moscow's court on Tuesday said jailed U.S. journalist Ivan would remain in pretrial detention until at least March 30th, ensuring he still stays behind bar for at least a year. Now, Russian prosecutors have charged Wall Street Journal reporter Ivan with espionage, the first time such a criminal accusation has been leveled against a Western reporter in Russia since the fall of the Soviet Union.
I've just left the Moscow City Court, where the court has denied the appeal of Evan Gershkovich's latest extension of detention. Evan is an American journalist whom the Russian authorities have detained now wrongfully for nearly an entire year. The U.S. position remains unchanged. The charges against Evan are baseless. Although I could not speak with Evan in the courtroom today, I expect to visit him tomorrow at Lefortovo Prison, where I will check on his treatment and his well-being. The plight of U.S. citizens wrongfully detained in Russia remains a top priority for me, for my team, and for the entire U.S. government. It is unacceptable that Evan Gershkovich and Paul Whelan still languish in Russian prisons on baseless charges. The United States will not rest until Evan and Paul are free and back home with their families.
In North America, a Asian judge investigating the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moïse has charged his widow, the former prime minister, and an ex-chief of police with complicity in the killing. The 122-page leaked document published by a local media outlet on Monday detailed how the president's widow allegedly conspired with former prime minister to kill the president, intending to replace him herself. In the document, now the George Whitney was ordered the arrest and trial of some 50 persons involved in the gunning down of Moise at his private residence in July 2021. All the accused were referred to the criminal court to be judged on the facts of criminal conspiracy, armed robbery, terrorism, assassination, and complicity in the assassination. Let's move to Oceania, where Australia on Tuesday outlined a decade-long plan to double its fleet of major warships and boost defense spending by an additional $7 billion in the face of a quickening Asia-Pacific arms race. Under the plan, Australia will get a navy of 26 major surface combatant ships, up from 11 today. Now, the announcement comes after a massive build-up of firepower by rivals China and Russia, and amidst growing confrontation between nervous US-led allies and increasing bellicose authoritarian government. The plan would see Australia increase its defense spending to 2.4% of gross domestic product, above the 2% target set by its NATO allies.
Today, the Albanese government is announcing an increase in the number of warships in the Royal Australian Navy to being the largest fleet since the end of the Second World War. Right now, the Royal Australian Navy has 11 warships. As a result of the government's response to the Surface Fleet Review, today we are committing to take that number to 26. This was done over a very short period of time. Their work is thorough and thoughtful, and we owe these three a debt of gratitude. Really, they have provided us a blueprint to building the Navy of the future.
We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we have more stories. Stay with us. Let's move to the Middle East, where the Palestinian Prime Minister said that the world must prevent the invasion of Rafah. He said this during the weekly cabinet meeting in West Bank's Ramallah. Israel hit Gaza with new airstrikes as world powers grapple with how to broker a ceasefire ahead of a United Nations Security Council vote that was expected to be blocked by a US veto. The Health Ministry says a total of 103 Palestinians were killed in the past 24 hours of Israeli strikes and ground combat in the besieged Hamas-ruled territory. The United Nations has sounded the alarm over the dire humanitarian crisis in Gaza, warning that food shortages could lead to an explosion of preventable child deaths.
Draft resolution is not only regrettable after weeks of consultations with every single council member and after endless patience by the State of Palestine, the Arab states, and nearly the entire international community that for months have demanded a ceasefire. It is absolutely reckless and dangerous against shielding Israel even as it commits the most shocking crimes, while exposing millions of innocent Palestinian civilians to its wrath and more untold horrors. It is not Israel that should be protected by the veto.
And that's a wrap on the news at this time. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can download and, of course, preferably watch us live on DSTV channel 422 Star Times, channel 274, Apple TV, and YouTube. And thanks for watching. I am Dakbo at Digboye.